Saturday morning coffee with the figs. Check it out. We had frost yesterday morning and I really didn't protect these figs. I'm on the south side of our garage. We have a little bit of protection with our pecan trees here, and it's time for our fig trees to go dormant. And I don't think the frost, which we only had a kiss of frost at 35 degrees, and I don't think the fig plants reacted much to it. Really good microclimate going on that are underneath our citrus trees here, which look at these citrus trees. My sunburst tangerine is absolutely loaded this year. Limbs are starting to hang down, fruit's starting to turn. I'm excited for the citrus. Right next to it, I got a flame grapefruit, and I've got to get on top of the house and get some of those down. Now, the reason I chose this spot is because I've got sun that's coming in from this direction on the south side, but I've got winter protection on this side, and so I get a little bit of dappled sun over here. So I'm able to put rooted cuttings under there, root all those out, which I've got some cuttings that I've just ordered, and I've got those rooting on the other side. I've had my mulberries over here all summer, and when those go dormant about February, we're going to come back and we're going to be grafting on different varieties of mulberry. I've got apple back there, apple rootstock, and we're going to be grafting over different varieties of southern apples onto those rootstocks also. That's some of the different things I've got going on over here. Short season bananas, got an avocado that's tucked under there because we had a little bit of frost yesterday morning, and I didn't want that sensitive Brogden avocado to get damaged from it. So that's why I got that tucked away under there. And then over here, this bush, I got 5 of them. That's southern tea that you make southern sweet tea out of. So now that we've got frost, I left all these plants, all these fig trees out here unprotected, because if you look, I've got good fresh green growth right there because I was pushing these trees hard with fertilizer, just trying to get them established, try to get them going. And we are a few weeks early on our first frost. So if I get a little bit of a light frost on these leaves to just kind of kiss it a little bit before we get a hard freeze, I can make this wood go lignified. Whenever it goes lignified, all the juices come out, it drops its leaves, all the nutrients go back into the roots, and then we're left with just a good hardy wood that will survive any kind of freeze. I've lost trees in the past because sap comes up early in the spring, we get a late freeze, bam, bust the wood on my bark, and I lose my entire fig tree. So I'm trying to make sure that these go dormant, and I got good lignified, hardened off wood. See, if you look there, that's very tender up there. If we were to get any freezing temperatures, I'd probably lose all that new growth down into here somewhere. We are in zone 8B, borderline 8A. So we usually don't get a first freeze until December, and well into January is when we get our hard freeze that does all of our damage. We get down to about 15 degrees here. We got down to 15 degrees this past year. I took some damage on some of my trees, but I didn't lose any of my trees this past year. And we're just trying to send these trees dormant. So when we start getting into the hard freeze of the year, I'm not going to leave these out here to be succumbed because I don't want the roots to get damaged by the hard freeze. We're going to take them into the garage in there, and we're going to tuck them away during the hard freezes where the roots might risk getting freeze damage on them. But just a little light frost, send these things dormant, and the roots will be just fine. Once it starts getting down to about 20 something degrees, like 28 degrees or lower, then we're going to start putting these away. But just a 35 degrees down to 32, even dipping down to 31 for an hour or so is not going to hurt the roots of these. So that's what we're doing back here. And most all these varieties we added this year. So you see I got a good number of plants that I've bought, I've traded, and gotten going here. I got these up on racks. I kind of wanted to baby these a little bit more. So I got them up a little bit higher so I can fertilize them, water them easy. I've got figs on them. I've got chickens in my yard, and this kind of gets them off the ground and keeps the chickens from eating my figs that are up here. I've really been bothered by the birds coming in and stealing a fig here and there. That's not really my issue. If you see under here, I got tucked away is some cuttings. This is brown turkey I got started off of my big brown turkey tree right there. I'm going to grow these out as rootstock and hopefully start grafting some of these rare varieties onto those rootstock. But yeah, I got all my little cuttings that are freshly starting to root under here. Got some angel trumpet under there, and then I just had some trees I wanted to give a little more sunshine to, because this area gets a little more sunshine over here. So I stuck those trees out in this area. All right guys, we're gonna go on over to our in-ground figs and just run you through what's going on over there and just talk about our in-ground figs. Let's head on over. All right, this is LSU Champagne, and it is a wonderful performer as far as growing. Look at all those figs I got in there. I'm gonna end up losing all those figs to a freeze. They're not gonna really ripen up, but I got some good growth going on in there, nice and dead. Now look, right up here, I have a champagne fig that's ripe. So let's pull that one down. Snapped right off, no problem. I'm gonna open this one up in case you guys have never seen an LSU Champagne. You can see what it looks like on the inside. Nice honey fig, look at that, nice and moist in there. That looks good. Michelle's gonna tell you that she don't like it, but she's gonna take that end anyway.
That's not bad.
Today she likes the fig.
It's better than the brown turkey.
Anything's better than the brown turkey. But the brown turkey is a very reliable producer, and that's why we keep it. I had a Smith here a couple of years ago, and the winter got my Smith, and I tried to replace it, and I was given another one that was supposed to be Smith. But as you can tell, that is not a Smith fig. And last year those figs were that size. I have no idea what this is. If you've ever seen a fig like that before, let me know. We're gonna change this over and graft it next year. We're gonna utilize those roots that are in ground. The tree's nice and decent. So I got 3 or 4 good limbs down there I can graft to, and we're gonna change that over to something else. LSU Scotch Yellow, love this fig. Same parentage as the Champagne. It's just a different seed, but two different figs. And as you can see right here, we took some winter damage. That's what all those dead limbs are. I got some busted bark right here, and all this limb right here was busted. So we're gonna trim all this out once this tree goes dormant, clean this tree up and make it nice. Auroric, had to give it a little bit of water a while ago. We've not had rain in almost 2 months. Everything's drying up that was freshly planted. Chicago Hardy did wonderful this year. I've never really been a fan of the Chicago Hardy, but this year it really made a believer out of me. I got one turning ripe right in there, but look how loaded that thing is. This is put on crop on top of crop. This is going to be the 3rd flush of figs, but I don't think I'm going to get very many out of the 3rd flush. But it loads up with figs. Look at all those figs that are in there. If we had a little bit longer season, another few more weeks, we would have whole nother crop, that one turning right there. So, but I'm really shocked at how well Chicago Hardy has done this year. Beautiful tree, lots of growth, good quality figs, and man, that thing's just been a performer. All right, over here we got Danny's Delight, putting on another little flush of figs here. And I got some nice tender growth right there. I'm probably gonna end up losing that if we get a hard freeze. So I'm gonna make a cutting out of that once that starts getting lignified a little bit. So I'm gonna have some Danny's Delight that I can propagate from. Wonderful fig. It's borderline like a Chicago Hardy, along the same lines, just a little bit different flavor profile. Alma, another good one. This one likes to bush out for me for some reason. But I got one good crop of figs off of it. It loaded up. And I got one or two that's trying to push again, but just one crop of figs off of this one this year. Now this is another one that Michelle really favors. This is Dominic Italian. Got another little flush of figs growing. Nice and tight, dense. And those aren't going to make it, so we're going to take some cuttings off of that and propagate out a few Danny's Delight. Ponte Teresa, I just put that one in the ground. No rain in a few weeks, it's starting to get dry. I had to give it some water. So maybe that one will get established this year and do something next year. Lebanese Yellow. This one has got one fig on it right now. Nice big yellow fig. I threatened to get rid of it, and then it put on 6 or 7 figs for me this year. Put another fig on there. We're gonna give it one more season, and if it doesn't perk up and start doing more next year, we're probably going to replace that one. Now let's talk about this one. This one has really shocked me. This is Adeleo's Purple. Adeleo's Purple blew me away this year. The figs were so good. Probably one of the best tasting one in my little small collection here. I'm not saying it's a 10 or not even an 8 or a 9. It's a solid 7 though. It's just as good as Chicago Hardy, if not just a touch better than Chicago Hardy, and loaded up with figs. I probably had 100 figs on this little tree this year. It did so well for us. I had a Colonel Littman's Black. It was this tall, and the freeze got it last year. I was able to propagate off an air layer. It's over in the bucket. The air layer is this tall now. And then this came back this year. This is poor soil. This was a fence line clay here that don't have a lot of nutrition in the soil. So this one has not done very well in this spot. We're going to plan out another copy of this one somewhere else. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this end of season fig tour. Hopefully you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And invite you along next time. All right, guys, don't forget, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. And together, we're Flomaton Famous. We'll see you next time.